Also would love to show you today our password manager because it's very near and dear to my heart. And I'll show my screen. In this case, I'm going to show you first the end user experience of what this is like for the average user that's brought into using the JumpCloud password manager. But also, I'll give you a sneak peek in what this looks like for the admins on this side of it when it comes to viewing the general password health and just the admin portal of JumpCloud in general. So in this case, I have the desktop app on my Windows virtual machine. If it's a little slow, I have like a ton of Windows updates that have been nagging me that I've been avoiding to do it because that would upset the demo gods very poorly. But basically, this desktop app is showing the passwords that I have either imported or have been shared with me. So I have a handful of passwords in here, and I can see, that this is stored locally, again, in that hybrid fashion. So if I was to add another device here, it would sync over there, but it would be stored individually on those devices as opposed to some massive cloud database. And, we have different types of items I can have in here. So I have passwords. I could technically store credit cards in here for quick access for autofilling there. Secure notes I like to use is kind of like a dumping ground. So if I had like a secret or like security question or something like that, or a license key that I want to have on hand, but don't want to just save it on a text doc in my desktop, can totally just drop that in here and save that for myself. 2FAs, of course, I didn't put a name for it. 2FAs, we do have a built-in 2FA authenticator to let you use TOTP codes for any login. So you can see here that I've actually set this up my email account or like a monday.com account, which we'll come back to in a second. And I can also store important information that I don't have to go and like track down my wallet for. So I can even save like my passport, my driver's license in here, because that is incredibly frustrating trying to find your wallet, especially when your kids have been running around with it. And I'm definitely experienced that personally. But you can also even save addresses for offices or your home or whatever else and be able to have like a nice centralized location on your desktop that's not just sitting in plain text somewhere. Now you'll notice on the other side, there's another button right here for folders. This is really obviously for a password manager. The difference between just saving a password and an actual password manager is the ability to not only use the passwords for autofill, which is kind of a basic feature, but also share them when you're in a pinch, particularly in an enterprise environment. You want to be able to share this securely. I've also been an MSP technician and an IT, help desk admin, and I've seen some insanely scary things in the wild of passwords written on post-it notes, domain admin passwords written on post-it notes under keyboards at bank kiosks. Yes, and that, oh my God, mind-melting scariness. So those kind of things we don't want to let happen there. So with the ability to share passwords, I can have passwords that are just saved locally from me. So this personal folder is only stuff that I have access to. I can share passwords with other teams. Like if I have an accounting team internally, I can share accounting passwords with them, or even like social media accounts. Some very popular options with that. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to actually just log in, and I'll show you some of the permissioning sides of things as well. So for instance, if I want to go to monday.com, again, my Firefox is insanely slow on this VM, and I really don't want to restart it because it's scary. But if I log in here, detects a login field, drops in username and the password if my Firefox is not running horribly. I get this 2FA token, automatically drops it in, I log in. This works with 2FA for like Google accounts, for Microsoft accounts, as you saw, monday.com accounts. I can even go, for instance, like I want to manage my website. I can go to my Squarespace account, log in there as well, and be able to quickly and easily get across the web without having to do this. As an admin, I would obviously I always like to stage users ahead of time. So I would usually create these accounts ahead of time, get them ready to be brought into the password manager and drop them in. So that way a user's ready to go pretty much from day one. And the password manager, the extension has all the normal bells and whistles of being able to see the passwords. You can filter by folders and item types. You can even search. I also have a password generator baked into this as well. So if I want to create a password on the fly, I don't have to come up with the dreaded, password 123 or the ultra super secure adding an extra exclamation point to the password whenever it expires. Spoiler alert, that's exactly what your users are doing, by the way. Or they're using their birth year, or they just change the number, like they change a random number. It's very alarming. But with that in mind, you can always come in here and customize the extension to work along as well. So if you ever have like specific behaviors that don't work well on certain websites, you can always make it so it don't automatically send a login request. You can change it so the behaviors of like the browser only work with exact domains. That's particularly helpful for admins who work with pages that have several subdomains involved, and you may not want the same credential to be used on every single one of them. So you can make it so this is ultra specific and make the extension highly customizable for you. But the nice thing is, like, let's say I'm a user and I have a password that I just added, and I want to share this with my team. So as you can see here, like I have my MySpace account, but believe it or not, guys, MySpace is coming back. I was actually surprised. MySpace, by the way, is still a website. Didn't know that, but hey. But let's say I'm trying to push a real strong social media campaign on MySpace. I can go ahead and add this to for my marketing team. I've set up my account. I save this. Now that's going to go to my social media folder. Anybody who has access to that folder will now be able to view that password. So I can come into folders, and let's say I want to go to my social media. I can view who has access, like what items are in here. I can view the details of this. I can update the name if I want to update a description as well. I can view the individual users, so I can perhaps add other users in here. So like, let's say I want to add Antoine. Oh, I don't know if you're part of this company or not, but that's okay. But like, let's say I want to add Kurt or something like that to this. I could add this, but more importantly, this is a newer feature, is the ability to add this to user groups. Obviously, you don't want to have to go through and add individual users one by one. So we wanted to make sure we added the user groups capability to this. So I want to obviously add my marketing team there. But let's say my accounting team wants to see why in the world they suddenly see thousands of dollars going to my MySpace campaign. Well, I'll give them access to go ahead and get to my billing information. And now accounting has access to my social media accounts. And with my accounting over here, I can even share important permissions with that. So like I come in here, same thing. I don't have access for my QuickBooks for them. I can add it for accounting, and now they'll have access to this. Very easy, very streamlined. Again, using the hybrid model where the data is still local, but the sync events are then sent to their apps. The data is then sent over to them, but it's never residing in this like general and like single cloud database, which is the vulnerability that we've seen exploited very, very recently in a very damaging way with other competitor type products. So that's the general synopsis for end users. I mean, the nice thing is you also have a security dashboard here as well. So for instance, you'll see that I have a ton of weak passwords with my ultra secure password 1234 type accounts, and this is being flagged immediately. And the nice thing is I can even see if it's been reused, if it's old, which none of these are really old because these are brand new accounts, many of them. But you'll also see that many of these are very weak. Now that's one thing to see this on the end user's perspective. From an admin perspective, hey, the screen swap worked. When it comes to the view here, as an admin, we both grant visibility, but also maintain some level of abstraction where they won't be poking around in end user passwords. So you can see here that you get a synopsis. Now this is in the JumpCloud admin portal. You get the synopsis of all the status at the top level when you're in this password manager section. Now, obviously, JumpCloud is a cloud directory, so we have a ton of powerful cloud directory capabilities, including access to on-prem resources like storage or printers or whatever else you may use LDAP for, and locally, your radius for Wi-Fi authentication, VPN connectivity, all that. We have hundreds, I think we're up to 850, 860 something SSO connectors pre-built for you, including the ability to add custom ones. So the sky's the limit with SSO. And obviously, for the ones that don't match nicely, we have Password Manager to let you achieve whatever else you may need. If it's a service that you don't want to pay the premium for single sign-on for, or if it's like a line of business or like bespoke solution that relies still upon username and password, we know there's a million reasons to use a username and password still. So we want to obviously give you the Password Manager. And now with Password Managers here, I can enroll entire user groups, grant access to the Password Manager app by simply adding them to a group, and I can see all these different groups that are part of my cloud directory. I can see the users in here as well, who would have access, who's actually using it, and even sort by password health. So I can see myself, I've been flagged with a dreaded medium password health. I would argue it's probably weak, but I do have some decent passwords mixed in with my really horrible ones, so it averages out. I have shared folders to give me a snapshot into what's being shared around. So you could see this accounting folder that I have all these passwords for QuickBooks is alarmingly weak, and I'm getting notified that has been, was created today and it's all weak. So I probably want to, bug all those users that have access to it. And I can come in here and click weak passwords, see who it is, and get a general overview of what kind of access they have, what passwords they're using. But also, I don't see the passwords themselves. We want to maintain the privacy of the end user and the integrity of the end user's data, while also giving the ability for the admin to be like, hey, John Doe, you mind not using horrible passwords everywhere, and maybe update your accounts to make it so 1Password doesn't breach your Bank of America, QuickBooks, Instagram, and your TikTok account all at the same time. So with that being said, this is the general, summary of password management. But as you can see, it fits perfectly into that gap that may not be addressed by LDAP, Radius, or SSO when it comes to user authentication methods using JumpCloud. And all this I'm showing you now is for one company at a time. As an MSP, you would be able to see this exact same experience in any one of your customers, and they're isolated as individual tenants. So you don't have to worry about logging in and out of the corporate account that you have for whatever password manager you may have implemented currently, and you don't have to worry about maintaining that general master password that you cycle to all of your technicians. As an MTP admin, you can jump into any org that you have access to, see the permissions and the capabilities of the users inside this company, and have unique password security and strength scores, and a unique experience for every tenant. So, and we make it super simple to switch between them. Yeah, that's it. That's the general, demo of our password manager. We're really excited to get this in your guys' hands and see how you guys use it.
Please subscribe and check out more content from us.